Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Let's talk about why you should never put all of your energy and effort into your full-time job. So listen, I'm not gonna tell you guys to never consider working hard or being efficient or doing the right thing at your primary place of employment. But one thing I'll say is that a lot of you guys who watch my channel are, self-motivated, ambitious. You have, you know, goals that exceed the limitations that the workplace pretty much offers most of us, right? Even the careers that pay, in corporations like higher up that pay, 100, 150, 200 and beyond, $1,000 a year. Typically those positions look for seniority, like time, and then also like as you get higher, it's more about who you know and like your qualifications. Like, do you have an MBA? Do you have a degree? Do you have, something that kind of gives you a form of social proof that, hey, this person is legit and the they have the ability to do the position well and execute what we need them to execute, without getting us into trouble, right? So the higher up you go, like the more risk the company has, the more risk they have if they put the wrong person in the position that requires, a high degree of responsibility. So basically, I'm not trying to scare you away from corporate America. I'm not trying to scare you away from rising up the ranks or just wanting more, from your place of employment. I think we all do. I think we all want to grow. But the thing is that there's different ways to grow, and there's just not one way to grow. And I think a lot of people don't come to this like idea unless they've experienced like pain. They don't come to this realization unless they've experienced, some degree of disappointment, some degree of discouragement and frustration. So let's talk a little bit about that and what you can do to position yourself to be successful, right? Because I don't know about you guys, but just me personally, and I think I can speak for a lot of other people as well, but I think a lot of us are fed up with the way, the corporate structure goes and how, work is. And, that's just how life is. I'm not trying to say that it's going to get reformed anytime soon or humans are somehow going to change and become, more loving and caring and fair, right? But I will say that, it's not a fun experience, especially when you're swimming in it every single day, 5 days a week, 40 hours, year after year. And especially for most people, 40 years for the most part of their life. So let's talk about, some alternatives, and let's talk about some ways you can position yourself to be successful without having to have like a title in a corporation or be successful in a corporation, right? Because again, there's other ways to maximize your potential, and also maximize your earning potential outside of like your 9-to-5 job. So you guys have to get in the mindset, right? Because here's the thing. For the most part, you guys are paying bills, right? Like, unless you live with your parents, of course, but your job's there. For the most part, we look at our job as something to pay our bills, right? And why we want to improve is because we want more money, right? We want to be able to afford our necessities, and we want to be able to bank, put some money aside as well, right? So there's nothing wrong with that, but your main focus, right, should be on your primary career path, right? Like, if everything is going well in your job and you feel that deep down, like, hey, this is something that's going to be a thing, like I can see myself in this company for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, right? Then by all means stick with whatever you're doing, right? But if you feel that even like just picturing like a 5-year journey or 10-year journey scares you, like you're like, shit, like I can barely even stand today, then you have some work to do, and you have some in a way soul searching. I don't like that word soul searching, but you have some work to do outside of your job. You have to figure certain things out and start to move in a direction that's going to place you in a occupation or career path or life path or business that's going to be something that's more aligned with what you value and your curiosity. So I don't know what that is for you. I mean, I can't say what it is, right? You guys have some of you guys are better at different things. I say this all the time, but one thing I will say, it's not about what you do, it's about how you do it, right? So it doesn't matter if you're going to school to be an electrician. It doesn't matter if you're studying social media. It doesn't matter if you're working extra hours. It doesn't matter if you're learning how to be an investor. It doesn't matter. Literally, it does not matter what it is. But the main thing that you have to master is consistency and being able to do it and sustain it over a long period of time. And the biggest hurdle you'll experience, I believe, it's true for everybody, and I hear, so many successful people say this, but the hardest part is in the beginning. Like when people, no one's, like for example, people who start YouTube channels, right? No one watches you, or you're, let's say you're working your job, but you're also doing, AC or something, or you're working at a trade. You might not be that good at the trade, right? It might take time for you to develop yourself and get proficient, right? You're learning from people that have been doing it longer, but as you go, right, you gain proficiency, you gain your competence, and as you get older, as you get better, and as you learn how to manage, maybe you transition into your own business, your own AC or electric business, whatever. Like, I'm just giving you an example, right? But the point being is that the main thing is, like, you have to figure out like what is going to be sustainable long term, because you can waste a lot of time dilly dabbling in different things, and trying to do this and trying to do that, and trying to study this over here, and then realize you might not want to do it. The biggest thing is you need to be decisive, right? So that's not to say that every single thing you try you're going to like, but one thing I can say is that I think most of you have this sort of intuitive sense of what you're good at and what you could see yourself doing long term. And so whatever that is, I mean, that's just, you need to go down that path. And if you change, there's nothing wrong with change. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with like changing things up, but that change should reveal itself to you. Like, you shouldn't have to force yourself to do something else, right? Like, if you just get to a point in life where you're like, shit, maybe I'm stuck, or you've been doing something for a long time and it's just not going anywhere, and you don't really have the same sort of like desire and spark that you had for the thing like that you did in the beginning, then yeah, okay, then you can maybe pivot or course correct and go into something else. But I think most of you guys kind of know what you're good at and know what you need to execute on. It's just a matter of you seeing it through and being able to buckle down and do the work. Like, the hardest thing is really in the beginning, right? Not being good at it, not having whether it's not making a lot of money, or if you're on social media not getting a lot of views, or not getting a lot of engagement, or just not experiencing the height of your success. Like, it's a lot of people are so focused on like the height of success that it sort of makes them discouraged when they see themselves like at the bottom, or not close to where they want to be. But again, like, going back to like one of my main points is like the seeing it through and being able to like do the thing long term on a consistent basis is what's going to keep you engaged fully throughout the process. So being discouraged is going to happen. There's no doubt about it. There's people that say don't get discouraged. You're going to get discouraged. It's just about you being able to realize when you're discouraged and being able to just let it pass, and then, hey, guess what, another day, right? People oftentimes get caught up in momentary failures or momentary times of no progress, or just you do something and you expect a certain result and you don't get it. That's very frustrating, right? Like, that's very discouraging. But again, it's like, and it's kind of goes into the point of like not quitting. Like, okay, so you did something, maybe you didn't perform the way you wanted to perform, you didn't get the result you wanted, but now what? It's like if you go up to a girl, right, and she rejects you. Are you, there's a billion girls, a lot of girls in the world. There's like 3 billion girls in the world, right? So if you go up to a girl one day and she rejects you, right, are you gonna go around every single day now pouting and whining about the one girl who rejected you, who just said, you know what, no, I'm not interested, or maybe she didn't even want to talk to you or have a conversation? No, like, the thing to do is you realize, hey, this, all right, didn't work out, and then the next girl you see, you go up and approach her. It's the same mentality with success and career and business, whatever. You have a shitty day, maybe you post on social media, it doesn't do too well. Okay, you post again the next day. Just like that. Like, it's very simple. All right, you don't do good the second day or third day straight or fourth day straight, you post on the fifth day, right? It's very simple. The hardest thing for us humans is complicating the things that are simple, right? Okay, yeah, it sucked 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Okay, but day 4 might be great. Day 5 will probably be good, right? Same thing with the stock market. Maybe one day the stock market not really moving too well, you don't day trade that day. Or maybe you make a trade and you lose $10. Big fucking deal. You go trade tomorrow, right? Or the next day, right? Sometimes the stock market has a couple of days where it's not volatile and there's not a lot of movement or volume, right? But the point being is that, like, there's not going to be a one shot, there's not going to be like a one shot path, or like, you're not going to hop on a rocket ship and just go straight to success. Like, you're going to have twists and turns. Like, so one thing again is keep the long-term vision. The long-term mentality is going to be able to ground you in times of frustration, in times of no progress, in times of frustration, or things that are going on in life that are preventing you from doing your thing. So whatever you're doing, again, I'm not here to tell you what it is you're doing outside of your 9 to 5 that you're working towards, but whatever it is, just have the knowledge that, yeah, I might not be that great for a couple years, right? I might not be Kobe Bryant, the first 2 years of studying the craft that I'm trying to master. So the biggest thing, again, is you like making sure it's something that you are curious about. It's something that you have interest in. It's something that is relatable to you, and something that, you feel like you have a knack for. And then, like, that curiosity and that willingness to grow is what's going to carry you throughout the years ahead, right? So it'll carry you through good times, and it'll keep you going. It'll help you double down when things are also going well. So again, not here to tell you what to do, but I think a lot of you guys are frustrated with work. You have this sort of like intuitive sense that, like, like, work is just something that pays the bills. And, oftentimes it's very problematic when we put our expectations in a career. I'm sorry, not in a career, in a corporation or a company to give us what we need, right? Like, as adults, guys, I hate to say this, or I don't hate to say it, but it's something that is true. Like, you don't have, like, no one is going to give you what you need. You have to go take it yourself, right? So if you feel that you're not going to get what you need in a career long term, or in a job long term, it's your responsibility to clock out, go home, and figure it out yourself, right? And I think, unfortunately speaking, we have a culture of people who just have this weird mindset that somebody owes you something, right? And somebody, especially your success, like, somebody owes me success. No one owes you your success. The success you want is up for you, is in your hands, right? Literally, quite literally. There are so many opportunities out here, right? It's just about you being consistent, you figuring it out, being able to get through the shit times, seeing it through, and eventually you get good at whatever you're doing, and then your success starts to compound, and you start to see the results, and you get to not only see the results and not only get like the accolades and whatever, people telling you you're great, right? Like, I mean, that's not what, obviously, like, it's cool, whatever, but it's actually really nice, because, like, I feel like once you get to that certain level, like, it's not to say you can coast, but you can sort of sustain yourself from that point and not have to grind so hard, right? Like, in the beginning, you're grinding, like, you're working hard. Like, for example, you're investing, right? Or you're compounding your investments to have a large sum of money in the near future, right? Like, let's say your goal is to have 100,000 in your stock portfolio, right? In 2 to 3 or 4 years, right? Okay, like, yeah, it's really hard in the beginning, because you might be working 2 or 3 jobs, right? You might be having nights where you're not sleeping. You might be having, times where you're not talking to anybody. You're missing out on certain events, or, people are calling you crazy because you're not socializing, or whatever, just a million different things. But once those 2 to 3 or 4 years are up, and you've done all the dirty work, and you have the money that you need, right? You can pull that money out and then reinvest that money, and that money works for itself. So the money that for example, like, I'm just using it as an example, the passive income that you were able to create over those 2 to 3 years by working hard and, just putting, money into the stock market on a weekly, monthly basis, right? Now you can take a portion of that, right, and put it to more passive income. So the passive income that you created, you turn into more passive income. So you're not working for it like you're not having to work hard for the passive income anymore. You're just using the passive income that you're not working for, that you didn't, well, you originally worked for, but it worked for itself. Now it can work for itself and multiply even more, right? Again, just an example, but that's what I mean by when I say, you know, like success, like massive success can sort of kind of like put you in a state where in the future, like as you get older, like where you just don't have to work super hard to sustain it or to grow it, right? Like it's a lot easier once you have done, like, you know, the grunt work and the dirty work up front. So yeah, guys, I just want to really, you know, keep encouraging you guys to stay on the path. And, you know, if you're frustrated, you know, on this journey, don't get me wrong, like I get frustrated too, right? But every day I wake up, it's a new day, and I look forward to, you know, the man that I'm becoming, and the person that you know, I know that God you know, I'm becoming the person that God wants for me. And, you know, it's great to wake up every day and go after it and continue to learn, right? Like that's the biggest joy for me personally that I, you know, reap from life, is evolving and growing, right? Like that is something that you can't put a price on, right? Like, yeah, okay, it's cool to make a lot of money, but seeing where I was a year ago, seeing where I was 2 years ago, and continuing to see the progress over time is just something that is really special to me. And you know, I hope that you guys are, you know, on the same journey. And if you're struggling, you know, I've been there, and you know, I still struggle at times with different things, different vices, different you know, mental, you know, I got so many different things that go on in my head that, you know, I'm sure you guys do as well. But yeah, guys, so that's it. That's all. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. If you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them down below. And as always, I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.